How's it going, everyone? Happy Sunday,
Hey,
of course.
how's it going?
I can't complain. Got my few energy drinks right here, so I can stay energized.
Cool.
I really shouldn't be drinking them this late at night, but I'm tired, so I want to stay awake for this.
Yeah, yeah. What's the NXT chick that naps all the time?
Windy Chill?
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to steal her gimmick.
No. Well, anyways, welcome to the show, everyone. This is the Babyface breakdown. I was going to say beatdown, but that's you.
Yeah, it's always quite the tongue twister for some reason.
Yep. I am Big Bubba Brogdon.
Yeah, I'm Boosh Dingo, the Luchador, and yeah, welcome.
Yeah. Episode 21 or 22, and we still can't get our intro right. Oh, man. It has been quite a couple weeks.
Yeah, we missed past couple weeks because of birthdays and Mother's Day, but I guess Mother's Days, because I ended up celebrating Mother's Day another day other than Mother's Day, so had to
You ended
do
up celebrating Mother's Day on your wife's birthday, and I ended up celebrating Mother's Day on my mom's birthday, which is the same day as Mother's Day.
right. So yeah, Mother's Days.
Yep, and yesterday was my parents' anniversary.
Nice.
So they got a lot going on in May.
Yeah. A lot of festivities.
Yep. My birthday was in February, so it's fun to know that.
Yeah.
Fun when you do the math, you know when things happened.
Yeah.
Well, enough of that. It's supposed to be a wrestling show. We're supposed to talk about wrestling,
Yeah.
which apparently you did not watch a lot of.
No, past couple of weeks have been fairly scarce for me. I have been watching some stuff. I watched some NXT, some WWE, a little bit of AEW, a little bit of Ring of Honor. So yeah, I've been watching stuff, but as far as like the current products from most of those companies have been a little lackluster overall. So it's been hard to kind of keep me glued to the tube.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, not sure exactly where we should start.
Well, I guess we should start with Backlash. That was the one show that we didn't really cover.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to refresh my memory because I don't even remember. I know I watched Backlash, but I don't really remember much from it.
Well, I was kind of late to Backlash just because I was late getting home. I think I missed the first two matches, which I guess were good. I don't know. I'd have to look back. Oh yeah. So the first two matches were okay. I didn't care about them anyways. I guess I just looked at what the first two were. The first match was Bianca versus Io.
Yeah, I watched that one. I normally would have skipped it, but I watched after the fact. So by the time I got around to watching, I had seen some of the kind of internet buzz around that match, which really had nothing to do with the match.
It had things to do with Bayley, didn't it?
Well, it was more so that was when Bianca Belair was booed pretty hardcore because they were in Puerto Rico, and I guess the Puerto Rican fans were
Bianca.
yeah they were squarely behind Io and not at all into Bianca. So I don't think anybody was expecting that. I know a good deal of the fans were either pretty happy about that, or pretty upset about that, or indifferent and surprised by that. So there was a little bit of chatter on the interwebs about that match. So I figured I would check it out. The match itself, yeah, pretty forgettable overall. It wasn't horrible, but it's nothing that we'll be talking about for ages.
Honestly, it's kind of sad because that's what most Bianca matches are right now.
I mean, I don't know. I'm somebody who's never really been big on her. I think she's good enough to keep around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a hater. I think she has her place. The women's champion, longest reigning women's champion in the modern era. Yeah, that's not where I would put her. But yeah, that's what it was, man. Bianca won, of course.
Of course.
So, yeah, and I guess you mentioned Bailey and Dakota Kai came out to try and distract.
Yeah, I didn't see the match really. I saw the whole feed on my Instagram. For some reason, it wasn't about the match. It wasn't even about the booing. It was about Bailey's outfit.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. That's understandable. Her outfit was quite interesting. Pretty revealing in a weird kind of way.
It wasn't much revealing. It was more like it could be easily revealed.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could pretty much decipher that she was wearing a thong, and you could see a great deal of her rear end in the outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone who's familiar with Bailey and her rear end could understand why that would be talk all over the internet. So,
and of course, there's going to be those Bailey simps out there that ate that up.
Oh, of course, yeah. And Bailey's gorgeous, beautiful, and great performer. I kind of read the talk of her outfit before I actually saw it, and when I saw it, I was I don't know, a little bewildered as to what was so great about it. You would, if I could pull up a pic, I would show it, but yeah, you would have to see it to really understand, because it really wasn't,
it wasn't
that risque.
It wasn't like Eva Marie's, bra accident thing. It's
it was pair of pants where it had holes, up the legs and on the rear end of the pants, but
it was like right at the rear end of the pants. It was like a perfectly cut square that was only held together by like little buckles.
Yeah,
but like between that little square and the buckles was that much of an open slot where you could see her skin. So
yeah, it wasn't. I really don't understand. I mean, the old trope of wrestling fans being losers and virgins might come into play there. I didn't really.
It's hilarious because I was like, it's not even that bad, guys.
No, it's not. I mean, it really really isn't. So yeah, I don't really get what all the fuss was about, for real. But I mean, yeah, for a good 2 or 3 days straight, I saw quite a bit of posting and talking about Bailey's rear end, which, what does that say about the match?
That no one was actually caring about the match until Bailey came out.
Right. So yeah, that's a pretty accurate review of the match. Tells you all you need to know about the match. If you care to see Bailey's rear end a little bit, like, yeah, go watch the match. Otherwise, skip it.
Yeah, if you're a sick pervert, go ahead and watch the match.
Yep.
I mean,
and
if you're a
we,
Bianca fan and you watch the match, that's fine. But
yeah, we just lost half of our audience. They ran to their TVs to watch to watch the match.
they're like pausing right at that moment.
Yeah.
Actually, I've seen the Gunther slap meme where he's got like his hand up ready to chop, but it's like I always have the other side of the picture. It's someone else's rear end or something.
Yeah.
I've seen that meme with Bailey's, so
pretty clever.
Community.
Yeah. I guess the Omos Rollins match was next.
Yeah, that one was lackluster too.
Yeah, I was curious, so I watched it, but don't really remember anything about it. It's fairly weak, fairly boring, but I didn't expect a whole lot. Not because of Rollins. Rollins is great. He's actually, the only reason that I bothered to watch it. Not an Omos fan. So
now I did hear that Omos was originally supposed to win the match.
Oh yeah,
because the match was written by Vince McMahon.
Hmm.
But Triple H did a Vince McMahon, got the script, and did a little rewriting.
Interesting.
So Triple H pulled a Vince and swapped the win.
Yeah, pulled a Vince on Vince.
Yeah, which is hilarious. And I don't know if it's true or not, but it would be hilarious if that was true. Because if Vince wrote the match, which he apparently did, and he wanted Seth to win, I don't know. But, like, it's more believable that, Hunter took the script and went over it.
Rollins does seem to be over with Vince. From things that I've seen and read, I think Vince is a Rollins fan. So yeah, it's not completely, that far fetched that he would have Rollins win, but yeah, the other version of the story definitely sounds like it's a little bit more likely.
Yeah. Now the third match was the match I came to. I turned on the TV, and this was the first match I watched, which is the United States Triple Threat match.
Yeah.
Which was a great match. It was Austin Theory, Bronson Reed, Bobby Lashley.
Right.
Is the exact same finish from Survivor Series between Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. I mean, it did. It was a fine match, but it did. I don't know. It seemed like a filler. Seemed like they don't really know what they're doing there with any of those guys. So yeah, just throw them together in a match and have Austin Theory retain, and it just kind of kicks the can, a little bit further down the road.
Honestly, I didn't even want Theory there. I didn't want a U.S. title match. I just wanted Lashley versus Reed.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not a Theory fan, so that
You're right. I'm not.
That makes sense, but you're wrong. So
I like your opinion. Your opinion's valid, but you're wrong. Oh.
Yep.
The match after that was Zelina Vega versus Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's title, which we knew how that was going to go. Kind of a slap in the face to the Puerto Rico fans because, it was kind of an emotional moment for Zelina Vega.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Zelina Vega was only on the card because it was in Puerto Rico.
Yep.
So,
which we'll get to another match that's only on the card for Night Champions because it's in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, but, so Zelina Vega, nobody, and I doubt very many of the Puerto Rican fans were fooling themselves into believing that she was going to miraculously, pull out a win there. But she got her little moment,
Yeah.
and good for her. And I understand why they booked the match. But again, I don't think anyone with any sense of professional wrestling thought for 1 second that she was going to win. Like that was a foregone conclusion the second it was booked. So
the second it was thought of, you should have like wiped that aside and like common sense.
yeah, I mean honestly, I would have preferred Zelina Vega have a match against almost anyone else and get the win.
Yeah. But the biggest, I was like, okay, I know she's going to lose. She's having her moment. It's all fine. I was like, chill about it. And then the commentators said that Zelina Vega was going to dedicate this match and her win to her father, which was a victim of the 9/11 attacks. And I was like, what?
Again, I think having her go up against just about anyone else and getting the win would have been.
Getting the win was the main priority. Not a title match, but a win. If you're going to dedicate your match and televise it, saying that you are going to dedicate it and tell the commentators and they televise it, that should be an instant win because they made me feel awful.
Yeah, and if she did go up against someone else and get the win, Zelina Vega's pretty low on the card at the moment, so it could have been a pre-show match. It could have opened the night. Get that win. I think that would have been a better way to go, because the match itself there was nothing really special or memorable about the match itself. Again, it's another match that we're not going to really be talking about a year from now, 2 years from now. It's just nothing special. So, like I said, it gave Zelina Vega her moment in front of her people, but
God, it was such a slap in the face, though.
Yeah, to have her lose, bad call in my book.
Yeah. Well, after that, we had kind of a triple main event. Because after that match, we had, was it Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar?
Yeah. We talked about that before, about that one really could go either way. I was admittedly a little bit surprised at the outcome. Cody Rhodes was the winner there.
Yeah. The way he won, too, was kind of intelligent, to where he didn't pin Brock by knocking him down and pinning him. It was kind of a dirty move pin, like a reversal pin. Like Brock is mad.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I don't know that I would go so far as to call it a dirty win. But yeah, it was a little bit more clever and cunning, and Brock really, I think, kind of did himself in with the cracking his head open.
Just blood spraying all over the place.
Yeah. So I mean, that's and really, going into it thinking, how does Cody Rhodes win this? It's hard to really figure out a way in which Cody actually defeats Brock Lesnar, because they've done such a great job of building Brock Lesnar up. He's the beast incarnate. So yeah, having Brock kind of essentially in a way defeat himself, I think was a good call. And Cody looked great. Being in the ring with a bloodied Brock Lesnar, really, did a lot for Cody Rhodes. I think it gave him the boost and the credibility that he needs moving forward. While at the same time, I don't think it really hurts Brock Lesnar that much to take that loss, especially like we said, kind of having him defeat himself in a way.
Just the
one
lock to a roll up.
it was a good match though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Probably one of the better Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes WWE matches that I've seen.
Yeah. Well, that was one main event of 3. The second main event we had in a San Juan street fight. Basically, the WrestleMania of these two is Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. Damian Priest said that this was their WrestleMania moment in Puerto Rico.
Well, they're both Puerto Rican, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It's that they were in their hometown.
Yeah.
They both grew up there. I think Bad Bunny said in the commentary, they said that they were basically superheroes in the city.
Yeah, so I mean, cool moment for the Puerto Ricans, and really whoever wins there, I mean, they're I guess essentially happy because one of theirs comes out on top. I'm not a big fan of Bad Bunny. I really don't know anything about the guy other than like my introduction to Bad Bunny was him beginning to work with WWE. The fight stuff that he's been in, his wrestling is not great.
No.
Especially as far as celebrities, in ring performances go. I think Logan Paul has really set that bar pretty high.
Yeah. But Bad Bunny admittedly is decent.
Yeah, I was about to say, however, Bad Bunny is good at it. He's not cringe, he's not bad. He's good enough to kind of have a place there. The match itself, as far as Damian Priest and Bad Bunny go, again, probably the best match that Bad Bunny has had in WWE. And definitely one of the best matches that Damian Priest has had in WWE. It was one that I honestly went into thinking like I might end up fast forwarding through this, but I didn't. I watched the whole thing, and it was good. I was entertained. So.
Yeah, I loved every second of the match. I did think that the whole, LWO coming out and some of the returns were kind of, taking up too much screen time.
Again, it's fan service, man. Like I think a lot of fans, myself included, sometimes forget that there's an arena full of thousands of people at these events that we're watching. So a lot of times we have a tendency to kind of judge based on what we enjoy and what we don't enjoy. And just completely forget that there's a crowd in attendance full of people who paid good money to, be entertained themselves. And I think for where it was at, for the crowd, for the people that were there, I have not really seen any complaints about any of that. I think so. We had Carlito.
Oh man, I was very excited to see Carlito. I loved his return during the COVID Rumble.
Yeah.
Although I don't like his father because of what he did, but Carlito is Carlito. Love what he did in his WWE run. He's jacked. I would not be against Carlito coming back like almost full time for like maybe a 3-year contract.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've read, there's not any like talks of him, making a return to WWE. It appears that was just a one-off for the crowd in attendance there. And I think it was a good call. I also had Savio Vega. Yeah. So again, both of those guys got massive pops. The crowd, that was there seemed to love every bit of it. So I enjoyed it myself. I thought it was cool. But I'm a nostalgia guy. And seeing both of those guys, especially Savio Vega. I wasn't watching too hardcore during the Carlito years. I've gone back, and revisited some of that stuff that I missed, but Savio Vega, that definitely hit some nostalgia for me. So yeah, that was cool, man.
My first introduction to Savio Vega was watching WrestleMania 12 when it was Stone Cold's first ever WrestleMania as the ringmaster Steve Austin, $1 million champion, defending the title against Savio Vega.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of people, I had seen Savio Vega before that, but I was watching in real time back in those days, and very, very into wrestling, so I watched everything. But yeah, I think for a lot of people, especially the younger crowd, who wasn't really of age at that time, I think that's probably going to be where most people in that group got their introduction to Savio Vega.
Yeah. And well, the segments were great. Again, I think it took a little bit of screen time, but you're right. The crowd is there and it's for fan service. The match wasn't bad at all, and the finish was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it's probably, I don't think it's my absolute favorite match of the night, but I think it maybe holds my number 2 spot. So
I was going to say the main event, in my eyes, probably was your match of the night, which was the 3-on-3 match between the Bloodline, which was Solo Sikoa and the Usos, versus Zayn, Owens, and Riddle.
Yeah, great match. I mean, that actually probably wasn't my match of the night.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong. It was great. It was fantastic. I think that probably holds my number 3 spot though.
Was the Austin Theory match your number 1 spot?
A-Town Down, man.
God.
No, I'm kidding. Actually, I think the one that I enjoyed the most and the one that I will probably remember the most as the years pass will be the Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes match. So I think that holds my number one spot. I think the Bad Bunny Damian Priest would be my second pick, and then yeah, I think the third spot would go to the Solo Sikoa and Usos match. Which is they're all good matches, all pretty.
All 3 of the last matches were great.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me though, I'm probably like of any of those guys that we just mentioned, I'm probably the biggest fan of Cody Rhodes. So yeah, I think I had the most invested, in that match, and to see him get the win over Brock Lesnar, it's just it's a pretty memorable moment, man. And like I said, I enjoyed the match thoroughly. I was most invested going in. Edge of my seat the whole time. So yeah, I think that's the one for me. But yeah, the Usos, Solo Sikoa, Riddle, Zayn, Owens, fantastic match. Had the Bloodline win that.
Yeah, but not before Solo Sikoa almost decapitated his brother with a Samoan spike. Which really put a lot of tension. I was like, oh. I was excited.
Yeah, they told a good story there. Kind of initiating that little bit of friction between Solo Sikoa and the Usos. So, or in particular, Jay.
Yeah.
So yeah, just some communication issues. I think Jay, bumped into Solo.
When Solo was getting hot.
Yeah, and Solo not realizing, what exactly was going on, and then it was an accidental, kind of accidentally bumped into him. But yeah, they had already had a little back and forth earlier in the match, so yeah, he gets bumped into, turns around to do what is the
Samoan spike. Umaga made it famous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. I was drawing a blank on what it was called, but yeah, went to do that and then realized it was Jay and had to kind of stop himself. So,
Which, I mean, Jay had already super kicked Jimmy earlier.
yeah, good storytelling there, man. The bloodline stuff is still, one of, if not the best storyline in professional wrestling at the moment.
Again, my biggest prediction is that the bloodline will implode. Jey Uso will face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, and that's where Roman loses the titles. Not to Cody, not to Sammy, not to anyone else, but Jey Uso.
I could see it, man. I think, we might have touched on that theory a little bit before, and I was a lot less, a lot leaning towards that being a realistic prediction. But yeah, as a little bit of time is going on and thinking about, the business and how the business works, I think Jay, the Usos both, but, we're talking about Jay in particular now. I mean, he's been around in WWE for a while, so I think I could see him being rewarded for that, and that actually, being the way things go down. I don't think a whole lot of people see that coming, which is also why it would probably be a good call. It would be a surprise. Because everybody, is still thinking Cody Rhodes or Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, to go way over here in left field and go with Jay and have him be the one to dethrone Roman. Roman Reigns, from what I've read and heard, seems to be kind of wanting to go to that part-time deal and work his way over into Hollywood and get out sooner rather than later, which I can't really fault him for doing that. Wrestling definitely takes a toll on the body, and yeah, I think the wise move is to get in, make your money, be smart with your money, and get out. And if you can get out and transition to Hollywood, even better,
Yeah, and I mean, Roman Reigns, love him or hate him, he'll be in WWE, the talks of WWE, forever. He's about to beat Hulk Hogan's title reign. By WrestleMania 40, he'll already be third, maybe even second on the longest reign. He won't be Bruno Sammartino, but he'll be up there.
Yeah, he's definitely solidified his legacy, within the company. It was a start, man. Say it again.
Hogan's reign was 1,040.
Yeah.
Roman will beat that because 1,000 days is coming up this next Saturday.
Yeah.
And then 40 days from now, he won't be at the next pay-per-view.
Well, and that's I have my issues with that. I don't think that Reigns is Hulk Hogan. I don't necessarily think that he should top Hogan's reign. But again, going back to
your nostalgia.
Well, going back to how the wrestling business works, and the behind the scenes aspects of everything. Hogan has not really done himself many favors later in life, later in his career. And with WWE, just kind of knowing how they operate, I could see them kind of partially doing the Roman Reigns toppling Hogan's reign as a way to kind of push Hogan back, a little bit. Which again, Hogan will live on. He is definitely one of the greatest of all time, and that'll never change.
He's probably the one that put WWE on the map in the 80s.
Oh yeah, for sure, for
Stone
sure.
Cold was the one that put it on the map in the 90s. John Cena did it in the 2000s.
But you could argue that without Hulk Hogan,
None of it was.
none of that would have happened. You know, none of it would have been possible.
It would have succeeded.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest Hulk Hogan fan. I am a Hulk Hogan fan, but I'm not the biggest. But if I'm being objective and judging objectively and kind of setting my fandom aside, I do think Hulk Hogan. You could make a solid case for him being the greatest of all time. And that's considering mainstream exposure, transitioning to Hollywood and being an actor. Everyone knows who Hulk Hogan is. There's not a person on the face of the planet, who doesn't know who Hulk Hogan is.
Yeah.
So
either because of that or because of controversy as well.
Yeah.
By the way, you know the name Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. So yeah, and if I don't know if you've ever done it, but have you ever watched any of like old Hulk Hogan stuff before the heyday of WWF when he would actually wrestle, like in Japan and stuff?
No, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I'll try to round up a couple things to send you, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people give Hogan crap for not being a very skilled technical wrestler, which I think is anything but the truth. If you watch the Hulk Hogan stuff in Japan, if you watch his stuff before he really broke big with WWF, he could actually wrestle. He could actually perform. I think a lot of people have that misconception because Hulk Hogan worked smart. He realized he definitely leaned into the less is more. He never really did, anything that he didn't have to do. He didn't put his body through hell, doing ridiculous things that don't make sense or that aren't necessary. He figured out a formula during the WWF era, days when he was on top there, and he milked that for all he could, man. And that's not it's not a criticism, it's not a knock. I think that's smart. But if you go back, and watch some of his key matches, you can tell that he actually could wrestle. And while I'm on the topic of Hulk Hogan, while I'm thinking about it, we just lost superstar Billy Graham. So R.I.P. Superstar Billy Graham. Because again, I think without superstar Billy Graham, you could make the argument that there would be no Hulk Hogan. So
yeah.
While I'm thinking about it, R.I.P. That was a sad one.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Got the news about it. Was it Friday?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Saw about Friday. Yeah. Also heard some news about 2 retirements that are possible to be announced, but it was leaked. Well, John Cena came on to news stuff and says that his body has taken a toll and he just can't keep up anymore. John Cena will possibly be retiring from wrestling.
Yeah, that's and that's probably a good thing. Last couple of matches that he's had were not great.
No.
And again, people out there, I'm sure, will take their shots and say that no John Cena matches has been great, but those people are wrong. John Cena, again, like I was talking about a minute ago with Hulk Hogan, there is this misconception within the wrestling community that John Cena sucks and that he's not talented, not a good wrestler, and all of that's wrong.
I agree. I'm not the biggest John Cena fan. I disagree. John Cena definitely was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a John Cena fan in the sense that I own any of his merch. You look behind me, you won't find a single John Cena figure, nothing to do with John Cena. However, I mean, the guy has had some pretty awesome matches. He's had a great career. He's a good wrestler. He's great on the mic. Mainstream exposure. I mean, he's one of the greatest, man. So yeah, sad, to lose him, but I think it's time. I guess the other person in question would possibly be Randy Orton.
Randy Orton. Yeah. So Randy Orton has said that doctors have told him to not return to the ring, and retirement is possible for him. He's trying to fight it off, but he's also come to the conclusion maybe it is for the best that he retires.
Yeah, and I don't know. I saw that same rumor going around as well. I don't know if it's WWE doctors that are telling him this, if it's doctors outside of WWE who are telling him this. I believe he had his surgery in Birmingham, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if it is his time, there is another one who I think, one of the greatest future Hall of Famer. He had a great run.
He was one of the youngest world champions of all time, one of the youngest WWE champions.
Yeah, and I mean, the Randy Orton memes went mainstream for a little while, so he's got some mainstream crossover there. I know tons of people who I know tons of people who've never watched wrestling a day in their life and actually know who Randy Orton is. So yeah, I mean, nothing to be I guess ashamed of or feeling like there's a whole lot left for him to do, because really, I mean, even if he does come back, I mean, I don't know how likely it would be to see another championship run out of him. I think he would probably just be around to kind of impart some knowledge in the younger generation and put some people over. So if that's all you got left, if that's all you're really going to be doing with such a serious injury under his belt, I don't know that it's worth it. And I think he's made pretty good money, so I don't know how well he's managed that money, but he's made good enough money to where he really should be set. And I think, being that he is Randy Orton, he could have some other opportunities landing in his lap that won't really put him at as much risk. So
yeah, and it is sad. You either love him, you either hate him. He was great as a heel. He's always great as a face. He did wrestling at a very young age, kind of like Austin Theory is doing right now.
Yeah.
Theory, like Orton, going throughout a lot of the WWE and doing great things.
Well, I think too, his last name being Orton, and for the true hardcore wrestling fans that are, listening right now, I mean, don't have to tell you that that's a very famous last name within the wrestling business. And I think Randy did a good job of not living in his father's shadow. I think he set himself apart. So.
And that's sad news to hear. And hopefully he doesn't retire. Hopefully he makes a comeback. But if it's the safest thing to do to retire, that's probably the best thing to do.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised too if WWE had something else for him. There's a lot of guys that have managed to transition to backstage roles within the company, and I could see that being something that happens for him as well.
Yeah, I can even see him becoming a manager.
Yeah. I mean, there's management. I mean, he's good enough talker, commentary. Even if it's just a producer, producing matches, coaching, like there's some things that I think they could find for him.
Yeah. But nevertheless, I hope the best for him. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing him in a Ric Flair role, like starts his own evolution up, and he's the Ric Flair of the group, the veteran.
Yeah.
But other than that, we can talk about the Night of Champions and the lead up to that, where we've had the World Heavyweight Championship tournament.
Yeah, which I didn't watch any of. I know who the final two are,
But you don't know how it happened.
No idea how it happened. Honestly, I don't care.
You don't care because Cody Rhodes is in the final two.
Well, no, I mean I don't care about the build to it. I actually do care about the final two.
Yeah.
My wife and I were talking about that earlier today. AJ Styles and Seth Rollins, man.
That's going to be a really good match.
Of course. I'm a huge fan of both those guys. Probably a bigger fan of AJ Styles, and I think that's who I would go with. Mainly because I am a bigger fan of his, and because I feel like Seth Rollins has his accolades. He's had his kind of time in the sun, and I don't think that's over for him. I think Seth Rollins has a pretty bright future in WWE. So I think he'll get his turn, but I feel like right now the smart choice is to go with AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be the smart idea, but I don't think that's going to be what they're going to go for. Just because
I'm not going to hold my breath. I do have a feeling that it will probably be Rollins.
Let's say Rollins is already on Raw and AJ is on SmackDown. If AJ was to win, he would have to take the title and the entire OC over to Raw.
Yeah.
Which would kind of rob us of AJ versus Theory.
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, who knows? WWE could have, some tricks up their sleeve. But, yeah, I do lean towards putting my money on Rollins being the victor there. However, being that I am a fan of both, and I do, yeah, I'll be happy either way. And I do think that the match has potential to be a great one. So again, as long as the fans come out the ultimate winners and being a memorable banger of a match, I think that match has the potential to be busting. And yes, I said busting because I'm hip.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's what the kids say, right? Busting.
Yeah, it's pretty lit.
Yeah, I don't think the kids say lit anymore.
Really?
Really.
I never have said it. So
come on, man, get with the times. Keep up.
I'm a boomer. Technically, I am. I've been called one actually earlier.
Yeah. Someone called you a boomer
when I was at work.
Yeah, I've been called a boomer as well. I think just about anyone has been called a boomer these days.
Really, 19 years old is a boomer now?
Yeah. I think a lot of people who use the term don't actually know what it means.
Yeah. There's something that you'll probably hate that you didn't watch from the past Raw, was that Mustafa Ali faced Otis and won.
I did see there was a battle royal on this week's Raw for the winner gets to face
Gunther at
Intercontinental Championship. Yep. And the winner, the final three, I guess, were Mustafa Ali or
It was Mustafa Ali, Bronson Reed, Ricochet.
Right. And Mustafa Ali won.
I really wanted Bronson Reed to win.
Yeah. No, it got down to the last little group there, and I kind of internal dialogue, like, who do I want, to win? Like, who would make for the best match with Gunther? And I went with Reed too, man. That's who I wanted to see win. It was tough between him and Ricochet. But yeah, I think Reed versus Gunther would probably be the best match. And man, yeah, Mustafa Ali.
Disappointment on my face.
Yeah, sheer disappointment, and immediate, like, not watching that match. You just lost a viewer on that one.
I mean, I'm going to watch the match just to see Mustafa Ali get his head kicked in, because there's no way, even in Saudi Arabia, that they're going to allow him to beat Gunther.
Nope, another. It's another Zelina Vega, Rhea Ripley situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just one to draw in more of the crowd to watch the match.
Yeah, and the difference for me there is that I absolutely hate Mustafa Ali. Not a fan at all.
I used to be a fan when he was in 205 Live, and I used to be a fan when he was in Retribution, because I loved Retribution. I secretly had a love for Retribution. I didn't like.
You're in the minority on that for sure. You're actually the only person I've ever encountered that enjoyed anything to do with Retribution.
I didn't like Slapjack. I didn't like Reckoning. I liked T-Bar and I liked Mace.
T-Bar.
T-Bar, as in Dijak.
Just repeat that to yourself.
I know.
I liked T-Bar. You liked a wrestler who called himself T-Bar.
Hey, there was a wrestler called Doink.
Doink was awesome, man. Don't
Doink.
Doink.
No. It's the exact same thing.
No, man. We will fight about that one. Doink the Clown is one of the greatest of all time. Do you know who was behind the paint, man? Do you know anything about the man?
I know that there was multiple Doinks.
Nah, there's only one. It's only one Doink. The one true Doink the Clown. Matt Bourne. If you don't know Matt Bourne, man, you're missing out.
Is that Evan Bourne's dad?
Oh, good one. Yeah. I'm being hyperbolic. Doink the Clown is not one of the greatest of all time, but he was great, man. I love Doink.
We had the gobbledygooker.
Nah, you're off base, man.
T-Bar is not even at the top of the ridiculous names. It's up there, but it's not even at the top 5.
T-Bar cannot hold a candle to Doink the Clown, and I'm going to go so far as to say Donovan Dijak doesn't even come close to Matt Bourne.
I do like Dijak or Dominic Dijakovic. I like the name more than T-Bar, but
yeah,
a cult classic team. It's like a team of. What's a team that you remember from the 80s or 90s that, was not favored but ended up being great anyways in the future, like a nostalgic factor?
Yeah, I'd have to think on that. Yeah, I don't know. Beverly Brothers were maybe one that I didn't appreciate at the time, and I don't think really ever got over with anyone. But going back and watching some of their stuff now, I have a greater appreciation for it. Think the Quebecers.
Spirit Squad.
Yeah, I would. There's a little bit of nostalgia there, and they kind of aged better over the years. But yeah, Mustafa Ali has go away heat with me. Yeah, there's plenty of people on the roster that I would say I'm not a fan of, but yeah, keep them around. You know, somebody's got to lose. But Mustafa Ali is somebody that should be flipping burgers.
Or go back to being a police officer like his original job was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a cop. Let's see. You've already seen the Raw with the with the Battle Royal. By the way, Dominic Mysterio is 2-0 against Xavier Woods.
Yeah. So I told you I watched Raw. I watched that earlier today, actually, and my wife was kind of in and out, and she saw Dominic versus Xavier, and you know, the last time she really saw anything from New Day was back when New Day was huge and on top. She doesn't even know who Dominic Mysterio is. But yeah, she thought it was pretty ridiculous that he was going over there. I had to explain a little bit. It's like, you know, not because of his wrestling ability, but Dominic is one of the
lovable to hate.
Yeah, and very much over. So one of the more popular acts in wrestling, period, right now. Whereas New Day has fallen from grace. They're not what they used to be. So, but yeah, the Dominic, you know, stuff on Raw was good. It's pretty awesome that he got that win. The match itself wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't. I always hate Dominic Mysterio. I will always hate Dominic Mysterio, just because look at him.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys where you're like, when you're out of shape, or like you're a bigger guy, you're like the usual wrestling fan, gotta have a dad bod. You know, you lift weights, you're a bit strong, but you're not really physique wise looking good. You sit back and you look at this kid, and you're like, what the hell? I could break that thing like a twig. That's every time I see Dominic wrestle, that's what I think. I'm like, if I got in the ring with him, he'd be on the ground and like a pretzel.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, but he's not trying to get over as a face. They're not pushing him as a face. You're supposed to hate the guy. So with that being the case, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Love to hate him.
Just love to hate him. He's not excellent on the mic.
Yeah.
He's just, his actions speak more than his words, of course. And everyone hates him because, you know, they've got him with Rhea Ripley right now. And everyone wants Rhea Ripley. Granted, I do too. But yeah, I've seen Dominic up close. I actually saw him versus Austin Theory for the U.S. title. And just seeing Dominic up close and being like ringside up close and seeing him face to face. He's a little taller than me, granted. I think he's 6 foot, maybe 6'1", and I'm 5'10". Still, he's got to weigh like 160 pounds, 170 pounds. And I'm here saying at 5'9", 245 pounds.
Yeah, he's not impressive to look at. But you know, I'll remind you, Walter to Gunther, freaking Punishment Martinez to Damian Priest. I mean, I think it's not at all far-fetched to think that Dominic, you know, could look completely different a year or two from now. I'm hoping, yeah, I'm hoping that he's hitting the gym. I'm hoping that he's trying to get in better shape.
Let's say his workout video with Sheamus and his little chest and bicep workouts were not very impressive.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that, but I mean, he's at least working out. So, yeah, I mean, who knows, man? Like I said, I don't think it would be far fetched to think that he could, end up getting himself in better shape. Because he's not. I mean, he's not. I don't
It's
know.
an Adam Cole kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
Adam Cole is like skinny, but also, kind of not really fit, but skinny, and you can tell he doesn't hit the gym a lot.
Well,
It's the same with Dominic.
Skinny fat. Skinny fat is a thing. You can be skinny fat, and I think Adam Cole, Dominic, I'd put both of them in the skinny fat category. But yeah, I again absolutely hate Adam Cole. I think he should go back to whatever he was doing before wrestling.
I think he was just in his mom's basement playing video games.
That's what I would have guessed. And honestly, I would guess that that's probably how he still spends most of his time. Except for it's not his mom's basement; it's Grit's basement.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or at least put him on commentary.
No. See,
He'd be like Michael Cole of commentary.
A big part of what I hate about Adam Cole is him talking. Like every time he speaks, it's not the same way that I hate Dominic. Dominic is a love to hate. Adam
was just a hate to hate.
Hate to hate, man. Like you need to go away. Go away, heat.
You put a bad taste in your mouth whenever you see him in wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. But I will say, like, I would, if you give me the choice to listen to an Adam Cole promo or watch an Adam Cole match, I'll take watching the Adam Cole match. Still not going to be entertained. I'm still going to think it sucks. But, hearing him talk is just, man, super cringe.
Yeah. You know what? Talk about AEW, social media, AEW fans and really just AEW marks, just bigger fans of AEW that just don't want to like WWE. Yeah. The Kenny Omega match versus Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
That's been one of the best things in a while.
Yeah.
Just whenever I go on social media and I read some of the comments, it was very, with the Don Callis stuff, it was very familiar to when Sammy betrayed Roman. I saw a lot of comments that said, "This is cinema. This is storytelling. This is the greatest story of all time." And I was like,
I mean, I
a joke.
I definitely would not go that far. I do think it was good storytelling. I think it was one of the few examples where AEW has told a pretty good story. I don't think it is even close to being on the same caliber of the Bloodline Sami Zayn storyline. Not even close. Not even in the same ballpark.
Like so many comments I saw that said, "This is what cinema is. This is what storytelling is. This is." Well, I'm like,
I mean, I would chalk that up to the fact that AEW, almost from the get-go, has not really been good at storytelling. It doesn't really seem to be their focus. So I think, AEW themselves has set that bar pretty low. And if you're somebody that only watches AEW, like a lot of these people that you mentioned, they don't watch anything other than AEW. And then even the ones who do watch, stuff outside of AEW. Now, I'm not talking about the people like you and me that watch AEW and WWE and whatever else we can get our hands on. I'm talking about the WWE haters, the people who refuse to watch, don't even pay any attention to the highlights or the clips, and just solely watch AEW. Some of those also will watch New Japan. They might watch a little Ring of Honor. I would say that, New Japan and Ring of Honor are not, really promotions that do a whole lot of storytelling themselves. Ring of Honor has always, to me, kind of come across as a more sports-based form of professional wrestling. It's not really, they're not really big on promos. They're not really, verbally telling you a story. It's mostly just wrestling for the sake of wrestling. New Japan does better with storytelling, but I think the language barrier, for a lot of people, I know a lot of New Japan fans who don't really pay any attention to the storylines. They just watch the matches. Um, in fact, I know New Japan wrestling fans that mute it and don't even listen to the commentary. Not that it would make much of a difference when they're speaking in Japanese, but New Japan has gotten better, in recent years about having English commentary on their events. But even still, if that's all you're exposed to, and WWE is the storytelling promotion,
It's
that's
entertainment. It's literally in the name.
Yeah.
World
Yeah.
Wrestling Entertainment.
right. Yeah, that's really what they try to do, is tell you a story. They're trying to be a TV show just like any other TV show that you would watch and be a fan of. So yeah, I mean, I think for those type of fans that are AEW purists and refuse to watch WWE, the bar has been set really low. So when you see some good storytelling on AEW, I can understand blowing that up to be something bigger than what it actually is, something better than what it actually is. Again, I do think that was good storytelling. I didn't see the Don Callis, betrayal of Kenny Omega coming. It was a legit surprise.
That was a legit shock. I didn't see it coming either. I thought, oh, Kenny's gonna win, and then the stab happened. I was like,
even though they kind of planted the seed and you knew something was going on with Don Callis, and not to trust Don Callis, like they made that abundantly clear early on. Like, he's a snake in the grass, bad dude, can't be trusted. And had him acting kind of weird in the weeks leading up to the betrayal.
Yeah.
Still, if you would have told me then that he's going to betray Kenny Omega, I would have laughed in your face.
I would have thought, no, it's not happening just yet, and then it happened.
Yeah,
I'm guessing this is John.
Yeah, it was. VHS nostalgia. Yeah, that's John Boy.
Johnny.
So, yeah, it's AEW
cinema.
And AEW overall recently has not really been holding my attention. I mentioned that to you earlier before we went on. That's part of my kind of slacking a little bit in the past couple of weeks. It's just a lot of what's been going on in AEW the past few weeks, for the most part, overall, has been unentertaining, kind of boring.
That actually it's gone so bad in AEW to where AEW Dark has been totally canceled.
Oh yeah,
the Tuesday night YouTube show from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has severed ties with AEW, and it's canceled. It's canceled.
Well, I didn't realize that. That's news to me. However, the flip side of that coin is that we have a new television show from AEW. So now we've had Dynamite, and then we got Dynamite plus Rampage, and now we have Dynamite and Rampage plus Collision. Is that right?
I think that's right. I think we're going to get a show on Mondays. Is it Mondays?
Saturdays. Yeah. So we'll have Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. It's coming on TNT. A lot of the kind of reaction that I've seen has been really just kind of ragging on AEW for essentially the logo for AEW Collision is the exact same logo that WCW used back in the day when they were on TV.
They use the exact same things anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's the same color scheme, same font, same layout. It's even got the TNT logo incorporated at the bottom. It's
it's an exact ripoff. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
it's just the Monday Night Nitro logo, but just.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of the reactions to that news that I've seen have just been, LOL, kind of stuff. I don't think anybody's really taking it too seriously, except for the hardcore AEW purists. But yeah, I think I watched last week's Dynamite. Could not really tell you much about it. I know there was, I think there was an Orange Cassidy match that I skipped. There was a street fight with Chris Jericho and someone. Roderick Strong, that's right.
You do know that one because it spilled out into the parking lot, and Chris Jericho versus Roderick Strong spilled out into the parking lot, and Adam Cole met him out there and, piled onto him.
Yeah, and that was one that I actually was like, okay, I'm a big fan of Roderick Strong and Chris Jericho. I'll watch that, and that should be great. I think it would have been a better match if it weren't a street fight, if it were just a legit wrestling match. I don't think of Chris Jericho and Roderick Strong and automatically think street fight.
I think a good old-fashioned wrestling match.
Yeah,
20-minute match.
Exactly. So, yeah, when I realized it was going to be a street fight, I did automatically get a little disappointed in that. But it's like, all right, let's give it a shot. And yeah, midway through it, I really just wasn't really enjoying it, man. I'm not a big fan of street fight matches anyway, especially in the modern era. If we're going back to the good old days of ECW, yeah, you can't beat that. But yeah, I did notice, and there's been a little bit of debate online. I don't know if you caught it, but when they were in the backstage arena area, there was a sign that was propped up against the wall that was seen on camera. And it was a sign. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it said something to the effect of like seat fillers line starts here or something like that. So, of course, a lot of people saw that, jumped on that, saying that, using it as an excuse to like rag AEW for, basically giving tickets away to people to fill seats. And to their credit, I think some people pointed out that, that is a practice that WWE also does. But then I think some of the AEW defenders were coming out and saying that was placed there intentionally, that AEW did that knowingly in a way to kind of poke fun at all the people that watch the seats, and the ticket sales and kind of harp on those aspects of the business, which I think could be the case, man. There has been a lot of talk recently when AEW announced that they were putting on a show in Wembley Stadium. There was a lot of people saying that they couldn't sell it out, that the ticket sales would be weak. So it's kind of topical. So I could see AEW, and they are the smart company, so I could see them throwing that out there to kind of, poke fun at that.
Yeah, they're smart. They're still very young for a wrestling company.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure things out. Tony Khan just, again, not the best to manage.
Man, you're talking about was he 2022 Booker of the Year?
Yep. We know who 2023 is going to be, though.
Tony Khan again.
He probably pays off Wrestling Insider.
Something going on there.
2023, I think, has been a really good year for WWE.
Oh, of course. Anybody who's being honest and paying attention would have to concede that.
I agree, John. I don't think it's too awful. Actually, there's something fun I want to talk to you about. Did you see? You probably didn't see NXT. There was a Tony Khan lookalike during the NXT show.
Yeah, it was during the Donovan Dijak. Was it Wesley and Donovan Dijak? Or no,
Dragunov, Dominic Dijak.
Yeah, Dragunov and Dijak.
And
Um,
so the camera just when it zoomed in on Dijak a little bit, you could see like it kind of looked like Tony Khan because the hair and kind of the face. He
it
made
looked
a really sexual hand
right.
gesture and facial gesture.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard. I was like, next day, internet shoot it up.
Oh yeah.
Tony Khan
Yeah.
coming to look for some recruits.
Yeah, I saw some memes. I saw some posts about that. Pretty hilarious. And the guy did look a lot like Tony Khan. I mean, you could tell that it wasn't, you know. But for the casuals, you know, I could see like legit thinking, is that Tony Khan, and having to rewind. Um, but yeah, that was pretty funny. I did watch. I have been watching NXT. And that's the thing. Like, I think for me, I might be about to kind of shift my watching habits. Um, I'm thinking about, you know. So I did watch. I believe it was a recent match. I caught it on YouTube, but I believe it happened recently. Zack Sabre Jr. versus AR Fox in Ring of Honor. Zack Sabre Jr. is the New Japan Television Champion. That was really enjoyable, man. As far as past, you know, couple of weeks, just the regular week to week programming that I've watched, I think that Zack Sabre Jr. AR Fox match, it's pretty high up on my list, as far as things that I've watched recently. So yeah, I'm thinking about maybe shifting my focus a little bit more towards Ring of Honor, New Japan, and MLW.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good call for me, just because, like I said, the past several weeks it felt kind of stale, kind of lackluster, and not very exciting, with few exceptions.
You probably want to hold off because you never watched SmackDown.
I don't ever. I never watch SmackDown, and I don't really know why. That's not necessarily a intentional move.
I mean, you're going to have to start watching it because Theory's on SmackDown now.
Yeah, and I think really it probably just stems from old watching habits. You know, being the age that I am and from the era that I am. You know, Raw was always the show to watch from WWE. Even back in the day, you know, SmackDown, it was something if I caught it, I caught it. I didn't go out of my way, you know. Whereas Monday Night Raw that was a necessity. Like, you better get me to a TV on Monday night because I'm watching Raw and Nitro. I'm going to be flipping back and forth between both. And if I've got two TVs, I'm going to watch them both at the same time. So, but SmackDown, you know, I think has always been the second show to me, and I think that's a lot of times why I skip it. And like I said, it's not intentional. I don't consciously think like, oh, I'm not going to watch SmackDown. I honestly 9 times out of 10 just forget that SmackDown is an option. So, but yeah, I might need to, you know, when I make this change in my watching habits, I might need to just, you know, replace Raw with SmackDown. That's part of what I don't like about the brand split and the rosters being divided.
You just don't have time to watch both.
Yeah, and there's talent on both rosters that I enjoy, so I want to watch both. You know, I want to see my guys on Raw, and I want to see my people on SmackDown. You know, like you said, with Austin Theory moving to SmackDown, that's pretty enticing for me. But again, you know, the amount of time that I have, it's easier to just kind of watch one and catch the talk of the other or the highlights of the other. But yeah, I might throw some try to be more conscious and throw some SmackDown in there. NXT might have to kind of be put on hold for a little while. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Axiom and Fraser. So,
I mean, Axiom right now is about to have a feud with Dabba-Kato, and I mean, you've probably already seen that they amass scripts, and the scripts character is just about dead.
Yeah, I saw a social media post. I don't know if it aired on NXT, but it was a clip of Scripps and Reggie kind of interacting together. And Scripps basically trying to put back on the mask and give it another try, and Reggie being like, "Yo, man, like, drop that lame stuff," you know. So yeah, it does seem like the Scripps experiment is over, and we might be going back to just Reggie, which, you know, I think some aspects of Scripps had potential, but I don't know, it just didn't work, man.
The name Scripps is kind of badass, but at the same time, it's Reggie.
Yeah, and everyone knew that, which I think he could have, you know, made Scripps better than Reggie and kind of made you forget that it was the same character. I mean, if Chad Gable can make us forget about Shorty G, you know, anything's possible.
I like Shorty G.
Yeah, again, you're in the minority there. I don't know anybody that.
It's not like I liked Shorty G, but I felt like, you know what, Shorty G probably would have went well with the Street Profits. I don't know.
Yeah, there were aspects, like you said, the name wasn't bad. I think the initial look, you know, that he had going on was pretty bad, but
he looked like a shorter, whitewashed Angelo Dawkins.
Well, over time, the look was kind of evolving a little bit and getting better. There were improvements made to the look, and I think that could have continued and got into a spot where he actually looked pretty cool. Some of the vignette stuff with the writings, you know, again, had potential. I don't know. I think they maybe kind of threw Scripps out there a little too soon. I think they probably could have done a little bit more developing of that character, you know, before they revealed it to the public. So.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I do like Reggie a lot, though. He's very athletic.
Oh yeah, man.
Needs skill. He needs the skill. He needs the look. He needs the gimmick. Look and gimmick is all he needs right now. Maybe a little bit of mic skills. I haven't really heard him much on the mic, but just charisma wise, he's got it. Skill wise, he's got it. In ring performance, he's great at it.
Yeah,
it's like a luchador.
Yeah, no, I would agree with all that, man. And the springboarding into the ring, the way that he does, is pretty awesome. Yeah, he's fantastic to watch in the ring, man. I would agree with all that. I think he needs a name, he needs a gimmick.
I mean, his wrestling skills are so unique.
Yeah, he's great in that regard. Name, gimmick, and I wouldn't even say that he necessarily needs mic skills. I mean, of course, every wrestler benefits from mic skills for sure. But yeah, I haven't really seen him do much on the mic.
I haven't seen him much on the mic. I've really only heard him talk much with backstage stuff, not like promos.
Yeah, the vignettes, you know, the video packages and stuff like that. But I mean, that can be there's plenty of great wrestlers who are garbage on the mic. You know, you can very easily just avoid that or give someone a mouthpiece. I mean, you could give him a manager, you could put him in a stable with someone else who's good on the mic, and very easily kind of fix that problem. So I don't think that's a huge hurdle to overcome. Carmella's garbage, so not a fan of Carmella. So don't put her back with Reggie.
I was gonna say Reggie debuted with her.
Yeah. No, I'm familiar. I wasn't really watching at the time, but we had this conversation at one point, and I went back and kind of checked that out. But I haven't been a Carmella fan since the
Money in the Bank.
Nah, man, since she was with Enzo and Cass. Like,
really, you didn't like her Money in the Bank run with James Ellsworth?
Nope. Nah, once they took her away from Enzo and Cass, I was I was done. So not a fan of that. But yeah, maybe John pointed out, I guess he was doing more mic work when they were together. So yeah, I would say, either just don't have him talk for a little while, or just give him a manager, give him a stable, and let somebody else do the talking for him. He really says all he needs to say with his in-ring performance. He just needs to get the look down. And even the name Reggie just doesn't really work that well for me. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't really fit him very well, and it just doesn't sound cool. And you can't put Reggie on a T-shirt. Scripps, on the other hand,
again, Scripps was a great name.
Yeah, you can stylize that logo, throw Scripps on a shirt with a cool, imagery, and I think that works. So I think that they were onto something, but I think it needed more development. Needed a little bit more time, which is interesting to see. The way things played out with him being in developmental and not getting the appropriate amount of development, that he needed. So in those areas, I think his ring work is great. Yeah.
Let's see.
But yeah, a lot of the NXT crew, just got drafted to SmackDown and Raw. Yeah, so we lost. For me, some of the guys that I was into and watching down in NXT are not going to be around anymore. So that's kind of a bummer.
I was going to say, I really like that they kept Ilya Dragunov, but at the same time, I was really wanting him on SmackDown.
Well, there's guys like Dragunov that I think should have been drafted before Wagner.
Wagner wasn't even drafted. He's just a free agent.
Oh, is he a free agent? I don't know. I saw him on Raw in the Battle Royal, so I assumed he got drafted over there, and I just missed it.
Corbin, Wagner, who else? Omos. They're all free agents. Mustafa Ali's a free agent too.
Okay, yeah, I forgot that they're doing the free agent thing, letting some of these guys kind of ride it out a little while.
Cedric and one of the biggest slaps in the face too is that Cedric and Shelton Benjamin are free agents.
Yeah, they should be drafted real quick. But yeah, even Dragunov. I mean, I like JD McDonough, but I would have flipped those two, man. I think keeping JD McDonough in NXT and letting Dragunov go on to SmackDown or Raw would have been a good call.
Dragunov's already done his part. He's won his titles. He's put on a great match.
Grayson Waller, too, is somebody that I would have kept in NXT, and yeah, I don't get that one either. I don't hate the guy or dislike him or anything, but I'm not a huge. I don't say that because I would want more of him in NXT. I just think when we're talking about Dragunov, he should have been drafted to the main roster before a lot of the other people that actually did get drafted. We include the women, Zoe Starks and it's the NXT Women Champion,
which she's not the champion anymore.
Right. But yeah, even her, I mean, yeah, Dragunov. I mean, Axiom and Fraser, are two that I mentioned that I'm real big on. I want them to stay in NXT so that I've got a reason to watch NXT. But I think both of those guys would do very well on the main roster. If given the proper push and treatment and opportunity. But we did touch on JD McDonough going after Dolph Ziggler. I believe he eliminated him from the Battle Royal on Raw, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And
it was either Dolph eliminated McDonough or McDonough eliminated Dolph.
Yeah, I think it was McDonough that eliminated Dolph and then proceeded to just beat him down outside the ring. So it seems like, I mean, it's Dolph Ziggler. Granted, he's not super high on the WWE totem pole, but he's established. He's a name, and I mean, he's somebody that's good at putting people over. So it seems like JD McDonough, he might go into a program with Ziggler and potentially come out on top of that,
Yeah.
which would be great for McDonough.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. So
one of the things I want to talk about with John, I don't think that's very favorable.
yeah, I wouldn't. I would agree with Indy Hartwell.
I wouldn't. I'd agree with Stark.
Yeah, see, I like Stark. I'm not big on her by any means, but I like her. I think she's got potential. I think she got called up too soon. I think she needs more time down in NXT.
I think Hartwell did too. I think Hartwell got called up a little bit too soon.
Yeah, and I mean we will likely see some of these people get lost in the shuffle and probably released within a year's time.
We'll see. We'll see how much money they're going to put into them and how much they'll use them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you haven't watched a lot at all SmackDown, so this might come as a surprise. Just putting out there that the Usos, what came to surprise for me is that the tag titles are being defended at Saudi Arabia because Syria is back in favor of Saudi Arabia, which means Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can come to Saudi Arabia.
Right. Aside from the political issues regarding Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and so I was thinking maybe Judgment Day is going to try and go in there and face them. But no, the Usos had a segment with Roman and Solo and Paul Heyman, and the Usos thought they were going to go fight them at Nia Champions. But it turns out that Roman isn't defending his title at Nia Champions.
Yeah, it's I guess Roman and Solo Sikoa are
Solo Sikoa.
going after the tag team titles.
Yep.
Yeah, I did see the clip from that. So that's another reason that I don't really go out of my way to watch SmackDown is because a lot of the good stuff that happens there, I end up seeing clips on social media. I did see that. That was a great segment. You could see, I think it was Paul Heyman that was, doing the mic work there. And you could see the Usos kind of, getting amped, because they're going to get their opportunity to bring those belts back to the Bloodline and make, the tribal chief proud. And and at the at the last minute, Paul Heyman, kind of gives you the swerve and or gives them the swerve and announces that it's Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns that are going to be vying for the tag team titles there. And you could see the disappointment, the embarrassment on the faces of the Usos. You could tell they weren't happy about that.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about it either, because on social media, I looked at the comments, and there was a lot of Roman fans that were like, Roman 4 belts. Roman Reigns is going to have all the titles. I'm like, God, please, no.
Yeah, that's become a bit of a meme, lately. Even the new World Heavyweight title that they just announced.
And that one's very funny.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of memes going around with Roman winning that one too, and just having all the belts in WWE just be on Roman, which is pretty funny.
I've seen this is kind of a controversial topic about the whole transgender stuff, but there's a meme of Roman Reigns having a sex change, and he's like, "All right, Hunter, I'm ready to go for the women's titles."
Right. I believe it's a gender change because gender and sex are not the same.
Oh yeah, so, sorry, gender and sex aren't the same.
Yeah, so tread lightly there. Yeah, you probably just got us booted off of YouTube.
I just got us canceled.
Yeah,
just because I'm not,
You ain't woke.
I ain't woke.
You ain't woke.
So just for clarification, no hatred to any people. We just, I have my beliefs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I hate a few people, but
John,
I'm
putting your comment up for that one.
yeah,
That will get us canceled.
yeah. I'm an equal opportunity hater. I hate members of all groups. I hate everyone. So
You're not racist.
no,
You're not sexist. You're not anything. You're like, I hate everyone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's not a single group uh, that I would say, yep, good with me, man. There's at least one of you that I hate. So
Yeah. But we're getting off topic for there. Yeah. So this past Sunday, we had Roman and Solo and Paul Heyman come out with against Sammy and Kevin. And it was a really good segment. We had Sami Zayn, we had Roman Reigns explain to them and explain to Sammy how many opportunities he gave them, how much he told him that he was easy on him. And then Sammy came back with a really good promo. And then Roman wasn't much paying attention. It was like the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar thing where Sami Zayn told him, hey, look at me.
Yeah.
And I just the face change in Roman.
yeah, yeah, good segment, man.
I think it was great. And it ended perfectly, too, because Roman Reigns was going to put something off of his chest after that. But then the Usos attacked out of nowhere.
Yeah.
To Roman's surprise, at the very most. He came in the ring, and they were high-fiving and celebrating that they took out Sammy and Kevin. And they went to Roman, and Roman was furious because he didn't tell them to do any of that, and that he wanted to get stuff off his chest. And as Roman was leaving, he bumped Solo Sikoa. And when he bumped him, the fear in his eyes when he stared into Solo, I was like, are they trying to say that Roman is afraid of Solo Sikoa?
I mean, you touched on John Cena and his remarks earlier about kind of being on his way out, and I saw, I think, another clip or excerpt of a John Cena quote where he was talking about how many people that Roman Reigns has gotten over just by working with him. And basically saying that, like, he himself, John Cena, doesn't feel like he has gotten as many people over as Roman Reigns has. I think there's some truth to that, probably, especially by association, because a lot of the people that Roman Reigns has gotten over are people that he is aligned with. It's not necessarily putting people over the way that John Cena, or some of these other guys has by losing to them and building a star that way. Roman has gotten, I mean, the Usos were already pretty over, but I think for a lot of people, the Usos had gotten fairly stale before the Bloodline stuff. And I mean, we're sitting here talking earlier about Jey Uso becoming WWE champion at WrestleMania. Like, that's really crazy and wild to think about, the fact that, like, we're sitting here talking about that, because no one,
big possibility.
Yeah, no one. I mean, even today, a lot of people think that that's pretty far fetched. But man, if you told me, 5 years ago that one of the Usos would potentially, become WWE champion in a solo run, like, no way I would have believed that. So he's gotten them over. He's gotten Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was not really that over before the Bloodline stuff. He had his fans, sure. But overall, nah, Sami Zayn was an afterthought.
Sami Zayn was a pure heel. You just they wanted you to hate him, and you really didn't like it because you loved him in NXT, and they really didn't do anything with him.
Yeah, fairly low on the card. Not a whole lot of interest in Sami Zayn. Wasn't moving a whole lot of merch. Fast forward to where we're at now, where he's one of the most over, wrestlers. Period.
I think he's like maybe in the top 5 of the most selling merch right now.
Yeah, and then I think Solo Sequoia, is somebody that has gotten over, and they could potentially, or Roman, with what you were just talking about right now, could get him to a point where he's even more over.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's potentially going on there. Roman's not going to be around forever. You got to build some new stars. So let's do it in Jey Uso. Let's do it in Solo Sequoia. Let's do it in Sami Zayn. Let's build these people up and get them over, by association. So yeah, I think that's probably what's happening there. I think it's an attempt to make Solo Sequoia look like a threat and look like a badass.
Yeah, look like a potential for Roman.
Right.
Other than the Bloodline stuff, SmackDown, you missed a really hard to watch match between Pretty Deadly and the Brawling Brutes.
I heard that Pretty Deadly won that.
Yeah, it was hard to watch for me. I was like,
yeah, I know you're big on the Brutes.
I'm big on Dunn. I really am big on Dunn or Butch. Whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I don't follow them as closely, but I was pretty surprised whenever I read that Pretty Deadly got the win there. On the one hand, I think it was a good move because you just called them up, so you need to have them get some wins right off the bat so that they look credible. You don't want to call them up and immediately have them, losing matches. However, I don't think the Brutes were really the team that I would have picked to take the L to Pretty Deadly. Now, I didn't see the match. Was it a clean loss?
It was a clean loss, I believe. Yeah, it was a clean loss. I think Butch was rolled up.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all of it, but
I mean, good for Pretty Deadly. Good for them. I think it's big for them. I don't think it really hurts the Brutes too much. I mean, someone like yourself, you're still as big of a fan as you were before that loss, right? So yeah.
But there was a few more tag matches throughout the night. I think SmackDown was like ruled with tag team matches.
Yeah.
Because the next tag team match after that was the Street Profits versus LA Knight and Rick Boogs.
Okay, so they've got is the Knight and Boogs thing? Is that
no?
No.
The Street Profits beat Boogs, which LA Knight said Boogs lost and not him. And after the match, LA Knight was trying to comfort Boogs a little bit. Was going to shake his hand and then hit Boogs with the with whatever his move is called.
Yeah.
Like that stunner variation to the mat, like a bulldog stunner or whatever.
Yeah. So is that kind of building a potential feud there, you think?
I guess. I think that's more like they're trying to build LA Knight up more as a heel.
Yeah. So he'll probably get the win in that.
Yeah. The match after that was they debuting NXT Women's Tag Team Champions Fire and Dawn.
Well, that's cool. How did they do?
They beat some local competitors.
Good call. That's probably what they should have done with Pretty Deadly. That's probably why they didn't do it with Pretty Deadly, because they didn't want to, basically give you the same thing. But yeah, that's good. Good for them. I like Fire and Dawn. In particular, Dawn. I'm not as big on Fire as I am Dawn, but yeah, Isla Dawn is pretty great. I've seen her, wrestle for some of the promotions in Atlanta years and years ago, and yeah, I've been a fan of hers for a while. So, and I think I'm not crazy about the like witchy kind of gimmick, but I think she's on to something. She's kind of found something that differentiates her and sets her apart from all the other women on the roster. So good for her. Good for them.
Yeah. After that, your boy Austin Theory came out to the ring to cut a promo saying, that he's glad to be on SmackDown, fresh competition, still to show that he's the best United States champion of all time. That he'll take on all competitors because there's none better than the A-Town down. And just out of nowhere, Sheamus just comes out. And Austin Theory starts talking crap to Sheamus. Sheamus goes to grab a mic. Doesn't even talk in the mic. Just turns around, bro kicks Austin Theory, leaves the ring.
That's it's not good for my boy Austin Theory, but hopefully that turns into a pretty good match.
I think it will. Of course, it's going to be Theory winning, but I think it will. I think Sheamus will put Theory more over.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it could, have the potential to be a good match. So I ain't too
Honestly,
mad.
I'm kind of not excited about it though, because I think Sheamus really needs to win the Intercontinental title before he retires. I do think it's long overdue, and he's had great matches with Gunther.
Oh yeah. I would probably agree with you there and go that route. Because Sheamus, he's been around for a while, and it is inevitable that he will, have to call it a day sometime soon. So, I would probably, I don't know, maybe even have him be the one to dethrone Gunther.
I think Sheamus is at my maybe top 10 favorite current day wrestlers, just because of what he's accomplished through his WWE career and what he's accomplished throughout my watching, since I've been watching. I mean, 104 days into his WWE career, he wins he wins the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
Not only that, with a unfavorable tag team partner, which we thought was never going to work, Sheamus and Cesaro as the Bar, becoming the second longest reigning, the third longest reigning tag team champions of all time.
Yeah, and they were great. I wasn't really watching when Sheamus made his debut, and so the very early years of Sheamus, I wasn't really privy to. But it was I've been a big Cesaro fan ever since I started back watching wrestling. He was probably the first guy in WWE once I tuned back in that I saw something in and was like, I think this is this is going to be my guy. So I didn't really pay Sheamus a whole lot of attention until the teaming with Cesaro. That got me to take another look at him, and really appreciated their work together as a tag team.
Yeah, honestly, I think them and then Retribution and a few others are kind of my favorite tag teams. Just them as a tag team wasn't supposed to work, but it worked so well that it sold a lot of merchandise. It got a lot of people excited. They were shown that they could be both heels and faces.
Yeah, and they put on some great matches.
It gave great memes to when Ambrose and Rollins came back and faced against them. When Cesaro lost his teeth in their match. I mean, I think that was the best time when Sheamus had a mohawk. That was the only time I saw the mohawk working.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and Sheamus, I think I'd probably put in that John Cena category for me personally, where I don't own a Sheamus action figure. I don't have any of his merch, but I greatly appreciate his abilities. He's solid performer, man. Fantastic. Seems like he's a really down to earth, nice guy too, and that always helps. So, and he was in a Ninja Turtles movie. So,
don't remind me about that one.
Oh man, that's fantastic. That's great.
When I saw him, I was like, yay! And then I was like,
Yeah, not the best movie in the world, but Bebop, Rocksteady, and Krang, on the big screen for the first and only time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a Turtles fan, so I thought that was pretty cool.
But I think Sheamus is another great guy to put over Theory.
Yeah, and I think I don't think it would be a bad call to have him be the one to dethrone Gunther, either if for no other reason than to just see another Sheamus versus Gunther match, because
every time it's great. I saw the match live at a show. John saw it too. From where I was, it was great. I don't know from where John was. It was great. John was all the way up in like in like the big stands. But I was like front row and center, and it was fantastic.
Nice.
But and the main event of SmackDown this past Friday was the LWO members of Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar versus the Usos.
Cool. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a really good match, but I didn't expect the outcome. The outcome was the LWO getting the win.
Well, from what I've read, LWO is moving merch, man. Pretty big numbers. And I get it. You know, back to what I said before. I'm a nostalgia guy. I used to love anything WO, man. NWO, Wolfpack, Black and White, BWO, LWO, like all of that stuff, man. I was big into back in the day. So I'm pretty good with them reviving the LWO, and why not? I mean, you know, they've revived the NWO before, so I think it's cool, man. I'd wear an LWO shirt. So yeah, but from what I've seen, they've been moving some good merch. So not too surprised by them getting the win there because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you know, bottom line is making money. So.
Well, we're almost out of time for the show. I do want to hit two more things. We brought this up earlier about AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. They've crossed paths before at Money in the Bank 2019, Rollins versus Styles Universal title.
Yeah.
Which ended up being a phenomenal match, no pun intended, between Styles and Rollins, with Rollins getting the victory. I wonder if that could be a repeat this Saturday.
Yeah, it could be. Like I said before, you know, that's probably where the smart money's at. But you know, either way, I expect it to be a great match, regardless of the outcome. So. Yeah,
I mean, I'll be watching that closely. I wouldn't be surprised if that was main event. Again, maybe the tag title match might be main event.
Yeah, but that's the match that I'm looking forward to the most. You know.
Great. And second thing, 2 weeks ago on SmackDown, we had Cameron Grimes return to WWE facing Baron Corbin in his debut match. I've got to say, stop Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin lasted 4 seconds.
Yeah, we're gonna agree to disagree on that. I'm not a big Baron Corbin.
I'm a huge Baron Corbin fan.
Yeah, I'm aware. You know, again, he's somebody that I would keep around. I think he's a good hand. But yeah, I'm not particularly invested in the guy. So,
I mean, right now he's doing the. Right now he's trying to lose as much fat as possible and put up more weight so that he can go shirtless, go lone wolf again.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see where that's going to come in. But just stop burying him. I get it.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty brutal, man. It was a squash match, and he lost quickly. And I was a big fan of Trevor Lee before WWE. Um, Cameron Grimes, pretty much everything he's done since coming to WWE, his NXT run, all of that. I've had a hard time really getting into any of it. So yeah, the Carolina Caveman, Trevor Lee, I'm a fan of. Cameron Grimes doesn't really do anything for me. So
I like Cameron Grimes. I like the country, like $1 million man type thing.
yeah, well, that was kind of an organic kind of addition to the character. I think the real life guy there actually did get into like
Cryptocurrency and hit big.
yeah. So that's cool, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm not particularly invested in Baron Corbin or Cameron Grimes, so that was just a whatever for me. But it was, I will admit, it was a little rough to see Baron Corbin lose so quickly in that fashion to Grimes. So,
and I love Grimes's finishing move. I think it's dangerous, but also it's very, very unique. It's like Finn Balor's top rope stomp, but also it's a running double stomp.
Yeah.
And it probably puts a lot of whiplash if the opponent doesn't participate correctly, or if it's not finished correctly. There's a lot of whiplash that could happen, or even concussion, or even maybe rib damage. But that's kind of the same thing with Balor's finish. I like the concept. The cave-in is one of the moves that I feel like is one of the best moves during the modern era.
Yeah, I mean, dangerous is good because dangerous typically equals believability. And I think Finn Balor and Grimes. I mean, they're pulling those punches, so to speak. So yeah, I think if it's done properly, everything will be fine. Also, Seth Rollins and his curb stomp, which was actually banned for a little while before they brought it back. But yeah, all similar type moves, all similar risk factors. But I think they've been doing it long enough, and they're good enough at what they do to. You have freak accidents, things happen, but yeah, I think it's fairly safe. All things considered. So, but yeah, devastating, looking move. I actually think that's probably a little bit more believable and brutal than Finn Balor's.
So. Finn Balor's coup de grace.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I also saw, just to kind of touch on it right before we go. See, Chris Jericho is talking about making his own movie based around his Painmaker character.
Yeah, that
pretty weird and out of left field. Did not really see that coming.
You know what? Go for it. The crazier movies have been made about stupider stuff.
Yeah, he was kind of talking about how he's just bored with Hollywood, at the moment, and what they're producing. He's tired of seeing Batman and Spider-Man and Superman movies, which is understandable. As much as I love those things, I mean, we're on our third Spider-Man in the last decade and a half or something. So,
as long as Jericho does not star in it as the Painmaker.
Oh no, that's what he's talking about doing, which I think Jericho's already been in a bunch of movies, so I think if it's done correctly, it could be pretty cool. I would think going low budget purposely, like doing something low budget, like a low budget horror type film,
like Terrifier.
Yeah, something along those lines. With the Painmaker character being like the villain of the film.
I would think that Painmaker would be more of the Crow.
Yeah, I mean, I can see similarities there with the face paint, and that, you know, The Crow is my favorite movie of all time.
It's my
Um,
dad's. It's my dad's favorite movie as well.
yeah,
Right
yeah,
next to Batman.
yeah. I mean, my number two spot is the original Ninja Turtles film, but um, yeah, my number one spot is The Crow, and it has been since I first saw that movie when I was a kid, and I've yet to see anything that you know even comes close to knocking it out of my number one spot. So it is a little bothersome when Chris Jericho introduced the Painmaker character. Um, it was a little weird to see the similarities between the face paint and the Crow face paint. However, the elephant in the room there is Sting, ripping off the Crow down to you know the whole look, man. The trench coat,
Yeah,
the
the entire look, the trench
hair,
coat to the face
yeah.
paint to the hair.
And actually, when Sting debuted that look, he was doing the exact Crow face paint, and they got hit with a threat of a lawsuit, and that's why he ended up kind of changing the face paint up a little bit and doing something a little bit different.
Adding a little bit red sometimes, maybe even doing a little bit shorter scars and not full eye
Really,
scars.
he moved the paint to where he had two, stripes coming down. So one on the outside, one on the inside, and then one just in the center on the top, making them kind of wiggly. And I'm still surprised that they didn't get hit with a lawsuit because I don't think that those changes really differentiated it enough from the Crow. Um, but yeah, I mean, if Sting can do it and I can get over that and still get into the Sting character, I think Jericho doing it, I can still be into it.
Again, I just don't see Jericho being that much of a scary vigilante or maybe even scary horror movie character. I think they need to cast someone that's like a younger Jericho
Yeah,
and can have a physique like a younger Jericho. But,
yeah,
and make it believable.
yeah. I mean, I would be down with that too. I think it's a cool concept. He did do a comic book, a Painmaker comic book. I don't know if you're aware of that, but
I have heard of it. I've never seen it.
yeah, I've never read it or anything like that. I don't know how lengthy it was. I think it was a pretty short run, maybe just a single issue or like a mini series or something like that. But yeah, I think it's an interesting concept, man. And again, with he's got connections. I know he's been in many movies. So yeah, I
Some that
think
you may not be proud of now.
yeah. I mean, he's never really been in anything that I thought was that great of a film or that great of a role. It's always like, oh, that's Chris Jericho. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen him at a post-credit scene in Terrifier 2. I've seen him get eaten by a shark in Sharknado 3. And
Yeah.
I've seen him be a KKK member in some kind of comedy movie.
Yeah, that was the I think it was the one of the Saturday Night Live guys. It was the MacGyver like ripoff movie.
Yeah.
MacGruber, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I think he has the connections. He probably has the money, to fund it.
He definitely
And
does.
especially if he did it like a B horror
B-movie,
film.
gritty, like kind of VHS grit type film.
Yeah, I could see it being pretty cool, man. And I believe that he probably could pull it off himself, but I'm also open to the scenario you presented where they cast someone else to play the Painmaker character. I'm interested in it. Totally bizarre, weird kind of thing to come across. But yeah, I'm gonna be paying attention to that and seeing if that actually goes down. So yeah, just want to throw that in there because that's some weird news that I came across this week.
Yeah, that is bizarre yet very interesting news. I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to do it for tonight.
Yeah.
We're at a little over 2 hours.
Sounds about right. Well, yeah, we'll try to get together next week if possible, and we'll try
next week we'll talk about, if we get together, hopefully we will, we'll be able to talk about, Night of Champions.
Yeah.
It'll be fresh, and I mean, I don't see anything in the way of us not talking about it. So
yeah. Well, cool. Well, all right. I guess we'll wrap it up, and yeah, give us a subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you like and what you don't like, and or don't. I mean, we'll probably ignore it either way. So
yeah, I think we've lost viewers or subscribers due to a few comments made.
yeah, wouldn't surprise me, man. Wouldn't surprise me.
Just get a report on YouTube that we are insensitive to certain groups.
Yeah. But I mean, these days I wear it like a badge of honor. So if you're not pissing people off, what's the point?
I guess. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching, who are still here. Thank you, John, for coming in and talking to us, making comments, making us laugh, of course. Yeah, we'll hopefully see you next week. I am Big Bubba Brogdon.
I'm Boosh Dingo, the Luchador.
And this was the Babyface Breakdown. And next week, if everything goes according to plan, we'll just talk about Night of Champions.
Yes, sir. Y'all take it easy.
See you around.
See ya.